Howdy folks, this morning's soap is going to be from Strike Gold Shave. Name of it is Kennedy. Down below I've got the scent description. I'm going to take a peek at it. 5 ounces of soap was in here when it was new. That's what it looks like on the inside there. This one here is fairly firm. I show you the soap because every once in a while you have those, you may have some of those like I have that are green. And what shade of green? Some of them are a little on the pink or brown, but if you first open it up and you're unaware and you open it and you see all that green in here, it's a bit of a shock. Got the alum block complete with rubber band. Still using Thayer's witch hazel with aloe. Excuse me. Here is the matching aftershave. And this is one of those aftershaves I was talking about before, where it has witch hazel, aloe, and alum in it. So it does make a person kind of wonder if you have an aftershave with that in it, perhaps you could forego the other two. Just a thought. And here's the pre-shave from Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements Ice. It's mentholated, but a scentless one. And yep, I'm still using the beard balm there from Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. Got this soap whipped up in the red bowl here, and here's that brush that you may have seen on Instagram or posted around on some of the social media sites. This is a Century brush with a badger knot in it, and this is the one that Frank worked up. That's what the bottom of it looks like. It's a pretty cool looking brush. Yeah, there's pictures out there where the I guess you might say how poor it was looking. It was looking pretty sad. And got something in my eye right there. He got it whipped up into shape for me. It's a good looking brush. Shaver of the day is a GM Featherweight. This one here is golden color. And it also has a GM Teflon coated blade in it. That's my shaver of the day. Already put a hot towel to the face. I'm going to go ahead and get this pre-shave on. I'm going to work, I think I'm going to continue on with the pre-shaves. I guess you might say in one way of looking at it, I'm going to work through the pre-shaves and until they're gone. And maybe by that point in time I'll be able to have a fair idea about them. I have this one here that I guess you might say is considered to be a travel one, which I like because it's in a self-contained container and easy peasy to put the cap back on it, put it wherever you need to, and don't have to worry about getting soap everywhere. I've got an empty soap container that I might put some of the ones that might fit in there, if they'll fit. I got one that I know it won't fit, and that's the, if you've seen the advertisements, Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements cube, PAA Ice cube. I have one of those. I know it's not going to fit, but because that's a pretty, it's a good sized cube. I was putting a little bit more water in the sink there. I like the menthol. Like I said, it does wonders for my nose. As you can kind of tell, not bloomed out rather nicely. Got this in the mail yesterday. Didn't whip this one up quite as wet as I normally do. Sometimes I'll remember and sometimes I don't remember all that well, but I have another brush that Frank fixed up and ever ready. And matter of fact, I plan on using it tomorrow that has a knot like this one, and how much water it may or may not retain. Because as soon as I got this one here, it went to soaking and lathered up and went to soaking again. Dried it out overnight and Smells great. It has been a while since I shaved with this one here. It's a lightweight, so I'm going to, hopefully I'll remember. Sometimes I struggle with lightweight shavers. On Friday shave, I use a TE to catch that strip right through there. And since I guess you might say I've been fix my plug in my sink, all my water's trying to run out. Since I used it, I probably ought to go ahead and use it on Sunday instead of just teasing you with it, because it's how can you say, it's not your grandpa's shaver. No, not this one. Definitely not. It's made by Max Metalworks, and the handle is long. Made out of brass. Solid. So it's got a little bit of weight behind it. It's one of those shavers where you let the weight of the shaver and sharpness of the blade take care of the whiskers for you. Now I have to say, for me, at least my experience with this shaver, it's a little different because it's a little lighter. Of course, with the handle being made out of plastic, the head is a little bit on the top heavy side, but it doesn't seem, that kind of bounce doesn't seem to, how can you say, throw the shave off. It still feels just fine. In other words, that weight up there and the weight in the handle doesn't seem to bother me any. I guess you might say that it's bounced differently than what a person's used to. Bring this shaver back up. When I was shaving with the Starling, I had mentioned it before in case had missed that video. On the Starling, see this one here, I don't know if that is the better angle. You can see these stop hooks that come up just over the edge on each end of the blade, and I'm kind of thinking if there was an adjustment I would make on the Starling, that'd be one of them. He's got stop hooks on those base plates. They just are a little on the short side. Need to bring them up just a little bit more, help cover that edge, the ends, the corners, the toe and the heel, if you will. I still think bringing the base plate and the cap, the metal in the back, bringing those together so that nose doesn't have a tendency to try to work its way up. At least it does when I do it. Maybe I'm over tightening, who knows. Like I say, just a little rubber spacer made a world of difference. Here's pass number 2. These are pretty inexpensive in my opinion. Like I said, if you're patient enough, you can pick them up right around $10, sometimes even less. Not everybody enjoys the single edge shave. I think it has a lot to do with the thickness of the blade. The shave feels a lot different. Now, like it's been said before, usually if you're shaving with a straight razor or a shavette, sometimes you might gravitate to something like this. you have a tendency to, you guess you might say you have more of a idea what this feels like. It's not a foreign feel to you, in other words. I can catch some of it right through there. There's one spot there, and there's another one back over here. Really have to work at it if you plan on trying to get rid of all of it. That was my phone. First time I put that notification tone on my phone, I was at work, and they hadn't heard it before. And where I work, there's a lot of cubes, and they heard it, and a number of people stood up. I started laughing. Phone's talking. This is a good badger knot if you're wondering. You need one, got a brush that needs to have a new knot put in it. Let Frank know this is the one you want if you want a badger one. My Minion brush has got the mother lode knot in it. This is a good shave. I don't think the alum block's going to have a whole lot to say today. You can kind of tell it holds a fair amount of lather too. So I guess if you're trying to get ready for work or whatever it is, and you're in a wee bit of a hurry, you can keep right on shaving for a while and not have to worry about the build up of lather. It also depends on how much lather you put on. I might be one of those guys that don't put a whole lot of lather on my face. It's not, with it being, I guess you might say, on the wet side and looking a little thin from time to time. Lather buildup, in other words, is not quite the issue. Good smelling stuff. Like I said before, Frank's new soap, he's hoping to have it out at the end of March. If not, of course, it'll be in April. Just depends, on how things work out. How when you're doing stuff like this and you're trying to get everything to come together, it doesn't always go as planned. Something always happens. It's kind of like when you plan I plan my shaves out, and I've had this one here planned for a few months, that I was going to start out with wet the face, and I wanted to make sure I was going to allow enough time for Dawn to come up with one more aftershave that I was waiting for. Okay, got that aftershave, and I was going to work through wet the face, and I was going to go through Strike Gold Shave, and then next is going to be Wild West Shaving. Then I've got 2 soaps that I will do videos on, and from a new to me person. Now these soaps are not in a container, so I'm going to put them in the shaving mugs, and instead of waiting to do that part of, I guess you might say, my shaving on a budget, because these soaps are not, they're not expensive, the 2 that I got. Matter of fact, they were $6 a piece. And that's a pretty good buy. It's like a Wild West Shaving. There's one thing that I mean, besides the soap, there's one thing that I really do like about what he's doing, what Russell's doing, is the fact that he puts 2 ounces, in other words, small containers, and Frank's soaps 5 ounces instead of the, I guess you might say, the typical 4. Those little things like that, you know, for me are, how you say, big deal. Got the witch hazel here. Maybe I'm one of the few that when I go shopping and making decisions on either soap that I'm going to buy or the ones that I'm going to follow and continue buying their soap, it's the little things that are like that that I look at, that to me that are important. And like I say, you know, typically, in other words, if you're spending $14, $15, you know, $14.99, whatever it happens to be, the price range, you know, seems to be relatively close. But if you got one, like Sterling's got 5.8 ounces of soap in his containers, got 5 ounces here on Strike Gold Shave, those sort of things, you know, stand out to me and, you know, help me make my buying decision. As well as a 2-ounce container is so much smaller and easier to store in a bathroom where you don't have a whole lot of room. I don't have a whole lot of room now, but not that I had a whole lot of room to begin with. I've had to bring in a cabinet and squeeze it into the bathroom. Just happened to find one at a thrift store, and just happened to fit just perfect where there was a place for it. Kennedy. Like I said, the link is below. Also, there is another link that might help some that are maybe kind of new or wanting some information about gym shavers, to help with a timeline. It's from a forum, and if you Google it, you know, there's more than one forum that's got this information out there, giving you some sort of timeline when these shavers came out. It smells pretty good. And as well as there's a link there for I think it's called Old School Shaving Brushes. Yeah, OSSB. Yeah, that's it. And you'll have to look at the page carefully, because in other words, when you first pull it up, it might be talking about a particular name brand, like maybe Opal, for instance. But if you look all the way to the right, there's a place that says other brushes. Click there, and then you'll see a list to have pictures of the labels, I guess you might say, of the brushes, and you can go through there and pick one that you're interested in finding out about. If there's any information he's been able to acquire over the time in the way of the model number or anything else, you know, he's got pictures of them and whatnot. Good information for me. I was going to show you. And I'll put the lid right back on. That is what the restrictor, the plastic restrictor, looks like in Kennedy, and I'm going to assume that that's the restrictor they're probably going to be going with. And it's not a real big one, but it's kind of helps keep you from pouring too much out. Also, if it matters to anybody, I don't know if you can see that in the cap, how that cap is made. It goes right down inside that restrictor. So in other words, it would help with the keeping a tight seal on your aftershave. And I do like the brown glass. Really enjoyed today's shave. And yes, in case you need another look, this brush looks fantastic. it is a really nice looking brush. You did a great job on it. Thank you, Frank. Hope everybody's doing well. It's another strange day in February here in Oklahoma. Stay safe and smooth shaves to you.